Hey guys, just finished watching Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 18, No Regrets. Wow, what an episode this was. I mean, it was a really cool episode seeing how different things go on. There were a few parts that kind of bugged me, like when the building came down, that CGI, when that was kind of very fake. It was almost, Flash, Speedster Flash version, fake. It was just kind of really bad. And then one thing I really didn't understand was at the end when the jet was firing on the building, why did it only fire one? Why does it not, does it not have multiple missiles? At least fire twice or multiple times, which would have made sense. And then it was kind of interesting that it actually killed off Mace in the actual in the real world and stuff. So the things happened in this affect you in there. Then I was wondering with how is this gonna, if Mace actually dies in this episode in real life, then how does that affect him in how is it gonna affect Daisy Johnson? How is it gonna affect her now that she becomes inhuman inside the framework? Now, what I found weird is that inside the framework she doesn't have her powers yet. So I guess maybe Madam Hydra, Ada, is taken away her ability to have her powers. So why is Ada not able to then stop her from becoming inhuman in this? So it's gonna be interesting to see, if this happens and then all of a sudden she has her powers in there, or she doesn't have her powers in here. So I think that'll be quite interesting to see how that kind of works and how things will work with this thing, because I think it's gonna be fun to see how this powers things. I feel like some of the things are like, why? First of all, I was thinking, well, why would Ada let there be an Inhuman or a S.H.I.E.L.D. version in her dystopian future to even go against her? But then again, that's exactly the perfect world for Mace, for the Patriot to kind of to be in. That's what he wants to do. He wants to be nothing but, he wants to be Captain America pretty much. So I guess if it was all around him, this thing, he would be Captain America pretty much. That's what he wants to be. So I think that makes sense for that part. But then I was kind of thinking, why would Ada allow Sky to be inhuman within this framework in order to and actually get her power? So I think that's going to be interesting to see how that works, and maybe see if this is going to jog, fit some memories. It's going to be interesting to see how this works with kind of with May and stuff like that, and how things are going to continue on with there. But I think I really like this whole idea, Mace kind of dying and stuff. That was going to be interesting seeing that. I was really cool seeing Triplet back. It was really cool seeing him. I was surprised though we haven't seen I forget their names, but we haven't seen Hunter or his other girl, Adrian Pilecki. We haven't seen any of them, those guys. Although there was an Instagram post, I think done by Hunter, the actor who plays Hunter, I forget his name, connecting again with Mac or something like that. I think that's who he's hanging out with Henry Simmons. So could be interesting to see if we end up seeing them back here. I think that would be really cool to seeing that. I think it could be interesting to see if they appear in the next 4 episodes. I think it'd be really cool to get those two back. So you get Hunter and I forget her name, but Adrian Pilecki's character, Bobby and Hunter. I think it would be cool to see where they are and get them coming back. Maybe I think that would have been really cool is if they had done that. They're about to go into this framework, they can come back and fight this Hydra. I don't see why not. In the real life, they're actually still alive. They're just kind of hidden, and there's no more of that threat. I think that the reason why they're gone. So I think it could be interesting to see where things go with this. But I'd like to see them inside the framework and maybe see, that Ada kind of got the real them and their real bodies, and they're added to this framework. I think that would be funny. Really cool to see that, see where that goes with that, and see what they're doing, because I'd love to see them return to the show. So I definitely like where things are going. Definitely can't wait to see where things are going to happen, especially with Mac and his daughter, and everyone not like Sky knows about his daughter. Now Gemma knows about his daughter. It's gonna be interesting to see how that goes when he gets ripped out of this simulation. How is that gonna affect him, and how things are gonna go. And I think it's going to be interesting to see that. I hope Mac doesn't die. I think Mace dying was okay because we'd only build it up with him this one. I feel like we've been with a lot with Mac. I'd like to see him not die so soon. Or maybe, I don't know. I just think it'd be interesting to see. I'd rather see him stay on a little bit more because I think he was pretty cool. I definitely can't wait to see what happens with Fitz. But I don't want him, like I said in my other reviews, just kind of when he gets pulled out of this simulation, I hope he doesn't, I hope he doesn't get brain damage from this, and then we have another brain damage Fitz before, which we've seen that before. We've seen that for like a season and a half or something like that, which felt like it was so long and he didn't do anything. So, and then we've seen, a messed up Gemma from the planet she was on. So hopefully it's none of those when they come out of this is affected going into season 5. Hopefully we can see them, they could both be perfect and their relationship could just be fine, because I don't need to see that, I'd like to see how far they go with this and how far things go. But I think it could be interesting to see. Obviously the relationship's not going to be perfect after this, because it's going to be some rockiness with all this stuff and how there's a dark person inside of him and stuff. But I want it to be just that and just nothing. I don't want him to have brain damage left over from this, just like he was from the water damage in the first season or anything like that. I'd like to see him just kind of just normal. Yes, he killed this person in this simulation, and there's evil lurking inside of him. If one thing had changed, there's potential evilness inside of them. But I think that would be a cool thing for him to go through next season, and they could do that as a couple, rather than him being brain damage or her being brain damage or whatever, because we've seen that before. So I think it's going to be interesting to see where things go with this. I definitely can't wait to see how things continue on from here, and how what are they going to do to try and fix this. So I think it's going to be fun to see that. But again, there was a few things like, why didn't the plane shoot more than one time? The plane shot and then it only hit half the building, and it's like, well, take the goddamn whole building down, just fire like 10 rounds. Doesn't make sense. Or I'm surprised that Ada doesn't have. She created this. Why can't she just, have like godlike powers inside of this thing? There's no explanation why she doesn't have that. Now maybe it's just like, oh, she can't have that. It's supposed to be their perfect simulation. Well, if it's, if this is Mace's perfect simulation, then he's not fighting Hydra. He's winning Hydra. This is not Mace's perfect simulation. I think it would have been interesting to see. I was trying to think about this during the commercials, kind of. Well, wouldn't everyone's perfect simulation be perfect on their own and not interconnected? It would just be each one would have their own framework, and everyone would be separated rather than all together, which then there would be no stories, because you'd have to go inside and out everyone's head, which again then could be a total different version of the framework. But in Mace's version, he wouldn't be a little small thing of Hydra. He'd be, Hydra destroying S.H.I.E.L.D, he wouldn't be a little thing of S.H.I.E.L.D fighting the big Hydra. He'd be big S.H.I.E.L.D, like huge S.H.I.E.L.D in the public eye, and then the hero, and he'd be fighting Hydra, and he'd be destroying them. Although it'd never end like that, but he'd be the big S.H.I.E.L.D, and in the bigger one, and not the smaller end like this, where your S.H.I.E.L.D's small and Hydra's big and stuff. So I think I would be interested to see that. It got me thinking about that. But then again, I guess that's maybe just nitpicking with this season. But it definitely was fun. I definitely can't wait to see how things go with this. I'd like to see, I'd like to see some effects on Skye when she gets out of the framework, because she went through the Genesis inside of the framework and out. I'd like to see some effects on that, because if Mace is dying, if Mace is dead, if the Patriot is dead because of what happened inside. But the fact that, she got powers inside doesn't affect her body. I think that it just that doesn't make, I think it just has to go both ways, If you die in there, if you get hurt in there, you die in there. If you just other things happen in there, those things also happen to your body. So I think it would be cool to see something like that. Maybe she comes out, she gets the same powers inside, but she gets to kind of, if she learns a new power or something like that, or a little bit more of that, she gets more powerful when she comes out of this. I think that would be really cool to see that. I think it'd be really fun to see how that worked like that. So definitely going to be interested to see. Definitely can't wait to see how things work. I mean, when Phil, Coulson, and all those guys who Ada has captured, when they wake up, is Ada just going to have a gun to their heads, or something like that? How is that going to work and things like that, I think that's going to be fun to see how that. And also like to see, again, we haven't seen much about how she has Fitz under so much control. I mean, we see it inside the framework, but I'd like to see on the outside of the framework what she's doing to make sure that Fitz Fitz is so deep in her claws. She has her claws so deep in Fitz more than everyone else. I'd like to see that from the outside perspective on his body, rather than just inside the framework. I'd like to see how she's doing that and how things are going, rather than just kind of, it's cool seeing his father and all and stuff like that, but I just don't see where she has her claws so deep in him. And yeah, maybe when Gemma died or something like that in his version, that's where it changed him and stuff. But is that really the future that he really wants or something like that? Maybe, maybe not. So I'd like to see where things go with that and dive dive a little bit more deep into Fitz in the upcoming episode. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the comments below. Episode 4, Season 4, Episode 18, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.